Hi guys, welcome back. So thank you so much for joining me here on my personal blog. I'm also hoping to post this on YouTube. So I've kind of slowed down on my vlogging. I think this summer, all of us can agree, has been kind of crazy. But this particular month for my gypsy tribe, we are doing shadow work. So when doing shadow work, what is shadow work? I get that question a lot. A gray witch, a dark witch, black magic, shadow work. When we think about the phone ringing and someone calling us and we look down and we go, oh, shoot. We know that there's about to be a conversation that maybe we don't want to have. It's going to be hard. It's going to be stressful. It's going to be a trigger. It's going to be, ugh. That is shadow work. Not a lot of us like to go there. Not a lot of us like to do the dirty work. But for October particularly, I think it's a great month to do that. And so today I'm going to be tackling questions 5, 6, and 7 on my shadow work journal project that I sent out to you guys to help join me and incorporate your own growth. So 5, 6, and 7, let's kind of do these. And these are totally impromptu. I'm not cutting or anything or editing. Have you ever badly hurt someone unintentionally, and could you have been more responsible or compassionate to them? Unintentionally, sure. I've hurt people emotionally, spiritually, physically, unintentionally. I think as a mother, we experience that. I remember just the first thing that pops in my head is Stellan when he was maybe 2, and he was teetering around on the furniture, and he would kept going over to the TV where he would want to pull, on this. It was a TV that, it wasn't really connected well, and it could come down on him. And there was this toy, this dinosaur that he didn't really like. So I put it up on the television, kind of propped there so that he would avoid going into that location. And I came around the corner one morning and he was just looking at it. And I kind of came up from behind and and I saw his face. Now that was intentional, but I didn't intend to have the response, the reaction he went into fear, and I thought, oh my God, I just scarred my child for life. I did like an Albert Bandura here. And I just felt really, really horrible about it. But I also think about, high school boyfriends. I think about situations where, in my relationships, I've usually been very nomadic and very aloof. And, once I realize that the relationship's not going to work out, I just am like, oh, well, this is over for both of us. And I just like that. And that's kind of how I cope with that. And so I know that that's probably hurt people because it didn't have the response or reaction that they wanted. At the time, I'm sure I could always be more compassionate. And I think the idea, especially for how to apply shadow work, is to think about those ways that we have been unintentionally hurtful. And it's usually in my responses or my use of emotions, connecting and associating emotions with things. And I try and be more compassionate about that now. I try to slow my space and to slow my thought process and allow myself to think about other perspectives and empathize with anyone else in the situation, and to not just think about me. I think when you're younger, you tend to do that. So for me, hopefully that's been a learning process, and I'm better in that, I hope. What rules do you intentionally break? And what is your reason for breaking them? Are you truly justified in breaking these rules? What rules do you intentionally break? It's fun being an adult. There's not a lot of rules. I think of rules that are put in place, having worked in law enforcement. I think of laws. I think of regulations. I think of statutes. And this is going to sound really silly. Personally, one of my rules is to eat less than 10 grams of sugar a day. I break that often. And sometimes I intentionally break it, I think, to kind of establish I can do what I want. I don't have to do that. I can do what I want. Life is short. I tend to go there in my mind to justify things and to say, you know what, the short term gratification, instant gratification, I can relish in that sometimes. I should have moderation. I tend to go that route in my mind. But I drive through parking lots. You know, in parking lots, you're not supposed to ever drive through a solid line or a yellow line. Bitch, please. I drive through parking lots and I'll be like, ooh, there's a spot. Ooh, there's a spot. Ooh, drive through, park it perfectly. You're not supposed to do that. But technically, that's kind of a purgatory of jurisdiction. So who's gonna do some? So that's what comes to mind. It may not be what people are thinking, but sometimes shadow work isn't deep things. And I do that because I know that there's no authority there, or because I am the authority. When there is no clear authority, I take that position. And then when I'm the authority, I like to break the rules because I can. It's almost validating in a way. I don't know. So there's that. Do you have any fetishes or kinks that stem from issues in your past, and do they liberate or hinder your healing process? Ooh, so I mean, just the word fetish and kink is very sexual in nature, right? Those words, the linguistics there are very sensual. And right now, astrologically, we're going into Venus into Scorpio. So why not go there? And shadow work is personal. Oh my God, someone might think less of me. Oh my God, I'm putting that out there. Oh my God, my kids might see this someday. All of those shame, guilt, humiliation. If it's not going to matter in 100 years, then it may not truly matter at all. And so when I think of that, I think of, you know, obviously I have a lip ring. So I would say I have an oral fixation. Oh, funny. You like blowjob? No. What does that mean? It means that when I'm nervous, when I'm anxious, I tend to bite my lips. I tend to nibble. I tend to do that. So, and eating, you know, gluttony and words and speaking too soon. My mouth really is of kind of all the orifices, hearing, smelling, all of these. This is the one that I don't feel like I have the most power over, and so I'm always working on that. And it seems to exhibit the most symptoms when I'm emotional. You know, I think of LL Cool J and his Doing It videos from the 90s, and the way that someone licks their lips, or the way that someone talks, the way that someone sings, the way that someone kisses. These types of things, you know, when I was a little girl, from the time I was probably 2 until the time I was about 14, embarrassing, right? I sucked my middle finger. My nanny, yes, I had a nanny, would make fun of me. But of course, growing up now and having worked in psychology and studied that field, we learn that in those developmental stages of separation and attachment and detachment, children, like myself, who go through any trauma, abuse, or neglect, like myself, tend to attach themselves to a stuffed animal or an imaginary friend or some type of a soothing behavior that can always be with them. And that's me. And so going through all of that trauma, I sucked my finger, I bit my fingernails, I picked my hair. I'm sure people in high school would remember me because in class I would sit there and pick my split ends until there was a pile of hair on the floor. And I'm completely focused. Actually, it helps me focus to be doing something. But it was because I couldn't suck my finger in school. You know, it was because I couldn't go to that soothing thing. And even now as an adult, I've noticed those silk stuffed animals, certain textures, they were puffalumps growing up. If you remember what a puffalump is, 20,000 bonus points to you. But I had puffalump, and it was one of my comfort items, and I remember kind of pulling it through my fingers, and when the silk polyester gets cold, and you kind of put it through your fingers, and it just feels really, really, really good. That's a weird fetish kink. It's a sensual, tactile stimulation thing that I just really love, that cold polyester feeling, or like kicking your foot out of the sheets at night and having a fan blowing on you. These particular things, I just really, really, really like them. And I know that it is directly related to my past. I know it's directly related to attachment and separation. And it's funny, I am aware of them. I don't really feel like I've been liberated from them, and that obviously I don't still suck my finger, but I get my nails done. I draw on my hands. I still pick. I still struggle with that. And I have my lip pierced now. I went through a 40-day fast. I've tried to go through these healing processes of dealing with it, and I'm still dealing with it. I haven't healed from that completely. So it's very, very present in a lot of areas of my life. So there's that. So on to the next page of kind of, this was a hashtag shadow work for October for Wiccans, pagans, naturalists, and witches across the universe. Anyway, I want to do 5, 6, and 7 on this as well. My least favorite tarot card and why. What does it say about me? My least favorite tarot card. So I think of the major and minor arcana. It's not going to be a minor arcana card because those seem slightly irrelevant to me. They're so surface, tactile, and just an everyday thing that it's not something that I would say bother me or is my least favorite. For something to be a favorite or a least favorite, I would really have to have strong feelings about it. So what card do I hate is what they're saying. It's my least favorite. Probably the Star or Faith, depending on how your tarot deck reads. The Star is usually this image of a figure, an organism, whatever living being is the subject of your deck, and it's usually under a star on a night sky, and it's pouring whatever its water source is, its life force. It's pouring it out and into the source of the river kind of streaming out of the card's picture. And it's this implication that you have so much trust, so much faith, no skepticism, such confidence that you give 100% of yourself to something and see it come back to you. To completely empty your cup of all emotion so that you can be refilled and renewed and rebirthed. I'll be honest in that idea I think is scary to all of us, scary to me. Just on the blog post before this, we talked about some of our anchors and how I struggle with my mother, and she haunts me. But I don't really want to completely let her go because the anger that I have, the disappointment and the struggles that I'm going through with her, they serve a purpose. And I have to go through it. And to go through it is going to be a really, I think, helpful thing for my soul. And if I were to just sever that cord, empty the cup, be something completely new, I don't know who I would be. I don't have faith in 100% of anything. I feel as though the connection of everything happening is a firework, a blip, a timing, an explosion of so many things. And in many ways, a reaction. And the star is, it's not about the star. Looking up, seeing something, not really knowing what it is, and being able to empty yourself completely to start over. It's hard to interpret that, verbalize it to others when I'm doing a reading because I don't completely buy it. I don't 100% know if I think humans are capable of it. I know I haven't done that in my life yet. And that I don't know if that's maybe what I'm trying to do, to say, well, I don't want to feel this way anymore. I don't want to have this mom or this relationship, because some of those things I can't change. So when you know what the star is, faith becomes belief. It grows in a just slightly different way. Um, and that's where I think I am. So I don't fully empathize, and I know I can unabashedly say I don't think I completely understand the star. I struggle with it. So it is my least favorite. But number 6, the innocent. What do I need to forgive myself for? What do I need to forgive myself for? I struggle with this because I don't know, when people go to a confessional, they go to their priest and they relinquish their sins through grace and forgiveness. And forgiveness comes from this third party, and healing can begin. Forgiving myself. I feel as though both my religious background, but also that understanding of energy, the giving and receiving, I wish that I got up every day and did more fitness. I'm really hard on myself. I talk really poorly to myself. I don't exercise my rage as much as I would like. I don't send thank you cards like I used to. I used to send handwritten thank you cards on a weekly basis, and I do it maybe monthly now. And I have these expectations and standards. Well, like right now, I'm struggling with a friend of mine. I wanted to go to her wedding all year. It's been my plan all year to go to this wedding. It was going to be a romantic retreat all year, and budgeting and making sure and the timing. And then the dominoes around me started to fall where it looks like I'm not going to be able to go. The car, the kids, the dog, the health, the dental insurance, the tires, the money, all this, it starts slowly falling around you. And you think, what do I even try for? And I think sometimes I need to forgive myself for having these expectations that I then fall short of so often, because I'm the one setting these expectations, and a lot of times I do it in a set up to fail scenario. And that is the cycle of the victim. And I don't ever want to be the victim. I hate playing the victim. When things go badly, I try to fix it. I'm not going to apologize yet because I've not accepted that shit's hit the fan yet. I'm going to fix it. And then eventually I'm like, why didn't I just stop when I realized things were going wrong and say, you know what? Stop. You don't have to reach this if things change along the way, and things will. And I go, no, it's all right. Things will change, but we can still do this. And I take the hard road so often because of my perfectionism and my expectations. And I need to forgive myself, I think, in many ways for being so hard on myself when I don't meet those unrealistic, and I know they are, expectations. I like to have a valid reason for abusing myself. So it's a setup. I set it up. It's a setup. It's a trap. And I do it. And I know that. So, yeah, I'm working on it. I'm trying to, I talked with a good friend of mine lately about this, actually. And being like, if you got up today and brushed your teeth, you get to give yourself a good job. If you got up today and ate breakfast and your kids brushed their teeth, then that's great. And I'm like, no, because in my head, a decent parent, a decent human being should be doing these things. Laundry, food, eating, hygiene. This is Maslow's basic hierarchy of needs. And Sarah should be up here every day. Or you're pathetic. And so I don't ever give myself credit for those things that I do along the way. That's a process. So there. But the last question, because this is getting terribly long, but that's what shadow work is. It's the taking the time for yourself, taking the time to think and process, and I'll talk about this later, and then someone will maybe leave a comment, and someone will message me, and then we'll have the and it will get to be macerated down to a good purposeful thing that I can absorb. And the last question, Sage Crone, which of course is asking for understanding, knowledge. What is my inner truth? I don't know what that's asking. What is my inner truth? That I'm in progress. And that's great. Not just okay. I'm in progress. I don't like to say under construction. I don't like to say en route. I don't like to say processing. But I'm in progress. I'm not entirely sure of what. I know that some things are very clear. Some things are very unclear. I know that I struggle with sometimes thinking I need to have this, this, and this, and I want it now! But I don't want to be that person. That's spoiled first world problem, Sarah. And I won't have it for 10 years. I won't have it for 20 years. I may never have it. Getting rid of student debt, the career I always imagined, the doctorate printed and in a frame on my wall that maybe makes me feel better, accomplished. I never even walked across my graduation stage and got the diploma. I didn't tell anyone when I graduated with my master's, with honors, top of my class. Because I was like, it doesn't matter. It's not a doctorate. Who cares? I don't know if anybody cares. I care some days. Most of the time I'm frustrated that I'm not where I think I should be or where I want to be. Most of the time I'm either upset about something that happened in the past or I'm terribly worried or planning and looking forward to something in the future. My problem is relishing and enjoying the present. That's why shadow work is so hard for me, and that's why I try to do it. Because they say if you do something and it's hard, keep doing it. And I apply that to every area of my life. So my inner truth is that I am in progress and that's great. It's not just normal, because I don't like that word. It's not standard. It's not healthy, even though it is. And it's not it is what it is, because we all know in my previous post that I don't like that phrase. It just is. It just is. I'm in progress. And that's great. I'm not quite sure in progress for what or where, but I do know what I have to offer right now. I do know what my strengths and weaknesses are right now. And I know that I'm working on sharpening those areas slowly but surely. And this is how we do it. Shadow work, sitting with ourselves, talking, writing, catharsis. All of it. Getting to know yourself. Loving yourself. Thinking through it. So, I hope that you'll take the time to answer these questions. So again, they were 5, 6, and 7 on the chart. Have you ever badly hurt someone unintentionally? What rules do you intentionally break? And do you have any fetishes or kinks that are from your past? And my least favorite tarot card, what do I need to forgive myself for? And to address the inner crone, on what is my inner truth. So hopefully you will take the time today or whenever, don't be too hard on yourself now, to work on those things. Work on those things and see what it is that you need to do, what it is that you need to grow and explore and light up in the dark, and see how it brings moderation and enlightenment to your life. All right, guys, if you want to join me more alongside this, you can check me on all of my social media sites. You can check me at Instagram or Facebook. You can also follow along at paranormalsarah.com. And I do hope that you will. You can personally join the GYPSY tribe and have one-on-one video interactions with me every week and assignments that we talk about personally to help you grow your intuition. You can learn more about that at paranormalsarah.com. Click the GYPSY tribe on the top, and hopefully I will hear from you soon. All right, guys. Bye-bye.